LA filing number 16-7970.
WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Tuesday. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Appreciate you hanging out with us on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Got Jacob Beck and Paul O'Neill back there on the ones and twos. Fired up. You are here. Lock us in for the next 2 hours. I said this at the top of the show yesterday, and it kind of still holds true. Like, there's just more on the plate than we can get to in 2 hours. Like, I'm going to talk about Tyler Shough for 15 minutes today. The Saints probably drafted the future of their franchise, and I didn't even get to that yesterday because there's so much stuff going on when you compound the fact that I was out all week last week for vacation. So there's tons to do, and we're going to try to get to as much of it as we possibly can. Sharief Ishaq with us in the next segment. A little bit early on a Tuesday, we're going to talk to Sharief about the Saints draft, what he thinks about that. Glenn West in his normal spot at 1:30 talking Tigers. LSU got a top 100 commit in the defensive backfield. We'll certainly get to it. I mentioned I'm going to talk about Tyler Shough a little bit later. I want to talk about where the LSU guys landed in the NFL draft. I didn't get to that yesterday. And then I've got an interesting thought, at least to me, we'll see if you think it's interesting or not, on LSU's postseason resume as it relates to 3 specific baseball games. And we'll get to that in hour number 2 as well. We'll start today the same way we start every day. That's our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
It'll be the Tigers and the Lions tonight from Alex Box Stadium. 2 more midweek games to go on the schedule. Tonight, Southeastern. Next week, Grambling. Then the final week of the regular season when the SEC moves things up to Thursday. Everybody plays Thursday, Friday, Saturday in the final weekend. No midweek games. So just 2 more to go. And LSU had won 12 midweek games in a row until last week when they got run-ruled against Northwestern State. I'm aware that Jared Jones made 2 errors in that game. I'm aware that LSU got run-ruled. I'm aware there was a delay. I didn't see much else. I was at the beach. We were chasing 4 kids around, and I just know it didn't go very well. But in any event, that was hopefully the one midweek hiccup. You very, very rarely get through the entirety of a season without that midweek hiccup. Pulmonary had 2 teams that went through perfectly. But it doesn't happen very often, and hopefully LSU can put that in the rearview mirror and play some good baseball tonight. Southeastern is playing good baseball right now. They are 33-11 overall, which is a wonderful overall record. They're 18-6 in the Southland. That leads the Southland Conference. They won 2 out of 3 against Houston Christian, and I mentioned this in my preview of the series, of the game on LouisianaSports.net. The Southland winner often comes to the box. We've seen Southeastern here for a couple of regionals, and it's not uncommon for that to happen. LSU actually coincidentally played Northwestern State up in the Eugene regional a few years ago. That doesn't have anything to do with playing at the box, but you can see this from time to time, and these are teams that LSU could theoretically see again should they win the Southland and LSU do enough to host a regional. So you look at this as a quality opponent tonight, but one that, as is always the case on Tuesdays, you should be able to overwhelm. So I'm going to talk about this in 2 different little pieces here. One about what you're looking at for LSU, and then one about what Southeastern brings to the table. As far as LSU goes, one thing that's cool tonight is if Jared Jones hits a home run, and he does that a lot on Tuesdays, if you hadn't noticed, he will pass Blake Dean on the all-time list. That is no small feat. Blake Dean was a fabulous hitter at LSU and is number 4 all-time in home runs. They're currently tied. If Jared Jones hits 2 home runs tonight, he will tie Dylan Cruz all-time. I don't need to tell you about Dylan Cruz. That's rarefied air that you're looking at here with Jared Jones. Now, that is if he passes Cruz, who's got to hit 3 home runs to pass Dylan Cruz before the end of the season. he'll get to third on the all-time home run list, and he's not going to catch numbers 1 and 2. Those were 4-year stars in the Gorilla Ball era. That's Brad Cressy, and then at the top of the list, Eddie Furness. He can't get there. But passing Blake Dean and Dylan Cruz on that list is a big deal. And Jared Jones is staring that down. I know that folks want to see more from Jared Jones as far as the power goes on the weekend. I will tell you, his last 2 home runs have been on the weekend. He hit the big one, obviously, on early on Saturday morning. Yeah, Saturday morning against Tennessee as a walk-off. And then he had a home run in the series against Alabama as well. So big night potentially for Jared Jones, and you hope to keep his hot bat going a little bit. The other guy in the lineup that I'm looking at is Stephen Milam. I've talked about him a little bit. He needs to keep it going. Well, he needs to wake up a little bit. He hit a home run on Saturday, smoked a ball into the right field seats. He doubled down the left field line on Saturday as well, but those are his only 2 hits in his last 23 at-bats. Right now, he's hitting 195 in league play. A weird statistical oddity with Stephen Milam is, though he's only hitting 195 in SEC games, he's leading the team with 5 SEC home runs. But last year, as a true freshman, coming from Las Cruces, New Mexico, off of an admittedly awful fall, he hit 265 against league pitching. And before you go, well, that's terrible, I promise you, I think you would be surprised. I'm speaking for you, the listener here, and maybe you know better than I'm giving you credit for, but SEC-only numbers over those 30 games are a lot lower than you generally would think. A lot of LSU hitters enter conference play hitting 420 and crushing the midweek, and then they hit somewhere around 260, 270 in league play, and that averages out to a 315 average. Like, that's a very common thing. If you go back and look at the 2023 team, I think only 2 guys, White and Cruz, hit 300 in league play. Cruz hit like 430 in league play. He's a freak. But most guys hit 270 or so in SEC play. So hitting 265 as a true freshman in league play is a really solid year, but you like to build on that. And now if you hit 285, 290 in league play, you're going to have a big-time batting average. I'm not asking Stephen Milam to do that. You only got 3 weeks left, but he's got to do better than 195. And I think everyone listening here, and myself certainly included, consider Stephen Milam a better hitter than what he's done this year. And he's got to go. This offense is not going to be carried by the long ball. It's not going to be carried by superstar power. It needs to be carried by the fact that it's deep and that every inning you've got a battle if you're a pitcher. And Milam's got to be a big piece to that in the 5, 6, 7 hole. And right now he's not. So he's got to get going. And I know that a couple of hits against Southeastern's not going to go haywire. They're trying to win the league and create conference tournament seeding for them. They're not going to go nuts tonight trying to throw all their best arms. Clearly, no one ever does in the midweek. So I'm not saying that hitting the back end of Southeastern's bullpen is going to solve all your problems this week when you got to go to College Station. But it's still nice to get some confidence going. And so I'd like to see Stephen Milam do a little bit of that. As far as LSU goes on the mound, it's the same story every Tuesday. I'm singling out a couple of guys here. One is Maverick Rizzi and one is Connor Ware. It's kind of hard for me right now to envision LSU getting through a regional and getting through the grind of Omaha without those guys stepping up a little bit. And this is a tired narrative, I think, for analyzing this team over the course of 56 games, but you can probably get through a regional with just Cade Anderson, Anthony Ianson, Kason Evans, and Zach Cowan and the bats. Like, you might not, but you probably can. Another team's going to run out of pitching. You'll bash them all over the place on Sunday, whatever. That can happen. In Omaha, you got to have some guys go out there and pitch. And it's not like these guys have been awful all year and they just have no chance. And that's what makes this worth talking about, is because they have shown some flashes. Now, Connor Ware didn't pitch last week. He hasn't pitched since the Alabama series. But he's only given up 1 earned run in his last 7 2/3 innings. That's over 5 appearances. He's been okay. He just hasn't been nearly as good as my hand is way up, as I prognosticated in January, as really everyone who watched the team scrimmage, the coaching staff included, saw him early on. It just hasn't been quite that. So I'm hopeful that there's more in there. I'd love to see him for 3 to 6 outs tonight. I don't need him to go 80 pitches, but at some point, I don't care if it's in the 8th inning or the 1st inning. I don't care. just want to see some of it. I want to see Connor Ware throw the ball well, and Maverick Rizzi is the other one. Last midweek, he faced 12 hitters. He walked 3 of them. Saturday, he faced 4 hitters. He walked 2 of them. That's 5 walks and 16 batters faced. It's just not going to do it. It's just not good. That's the equivalent of 5 walks in a 3-inning start. Like, it's just not good enough. So those 2 guys have shown flashes, and they have plenty of stuff. Rizzi throws 98 with enough of a slider. Ware's got 3 pitches. I'm clinging to a few things with Ware. One is the Dallas Baptist star really was good. And then the fact that his last 5 outings have been pretty productive, if not dominant. So those are 2 guys I'm looking at. Yeah, I want to see Connor Benj get back out on the mound after a bumpy outing last week. I want to see William Schmidt go, and you're going to see all that. It's the same guys we see every midweek. And eventually, you got to stop talking about what you did against Southeastern and Northwestern and ULL and Tech, and you got to worry about what happens on the weekend. And like they went to William Schmidt on the weekend, and he came in against the 9-hole hitter and 2 outs, and it's a high leverage spot, but it's a spot that you got to make 1 pitch. I'm not asking for 4 innings. I'm asking for 1 pitch, and he walked the guy. So like eventually you got to do it then, and you're running out of time for eventually. But right now, you still got some of these games to go out there and work on some stuff, and we'll see if you can see that tonight. LSU all-time is 50-4. Well, not all-time. Is 50-4 against Southeastern since 1990. This is a Southeastern team that's pitched it really well. Doesn't hit for a lot of power, but does have a quality offense for the Southland Conference, and is very clearly a team you could see back here in June. So I expect LSU to play well tonight. I don't think there's some sort of hangover spot between playing against Tennessee in a very emotional series. We know that. And then going to College Station, which is going to be a supercharged series as well. The reason I say that it's not going to be a hangover spot is because you just have to go back 7 days. You go back 7 days, you watch a team that doesn't come out to play, well, you can be in trouble. So I think they've got woken up last weekend, and I expect to see them play pretty well. I didn't mention Chase Shores in this. That's a guy that you'd certainly like to see figure some things out. Last piece on this game, I would like to see Chase Shores pitch in this game in the 8th inning of a 9-1 game. I would like the lowest leverage spot for him possible, so he can go out there without his heartbeat racing, without feeling like the weight of the world's on his shoulders, without feeling like he had to shoulder a huge load, and just throw some 98-mile-an-hour fastballs over the plate. Just throw them over the plate. That ball's got plenty of run, plenty of sink. Like, just throw it over the plate. And so he may start tonight. Ware may start tonight. Schmidt may start tonight. Newton may start tonight. I don't know what the plan is. But for one guy specifically, Chase Shores, I'd love to see him in a very low-leverage spot in the back end of a blowout game. If LSU can go out there and hang a 4-spot early, hang a 3-spot in another inning, and create some separation, that's where I'd like to see Chase Shores jump in, because that's another guy. There's potential there, but he hadn't shown much this year, so we'll see. That's LSU and Southeastern tonight. That is our Genesis opening drive. We will take a timeout. When we come back, Sharief Ishaq on the Saints Drafts. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is that website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Look, sometimes folks have lived in a house for a good while. It's an older home, and we're not even talking about trying to upgrade in terms of the aesthetics. Like, you've got a toilet / shower / bathtub that just isn't functional anymore. It's probably not the spot to go down the street and get the handyman who you just hand some cash to on the side to handle that sort of situation. Go ahead and get a master plumber. Get a company that's licensed, bonded, insured. Get a company that's been doing this for 3 decades. One Bath and Closets has been doing that. So if you're in a situation where you're looking at that tub and you're looking at that bathroom and you're going, this is not only not... David Vaughn and his team, they've got financing options available. 0% up to 18 months. It's the same as cash if you qualify. Go to the website, onebathandclosets.com, and get that free consultation today. It doesn't cost you anything to sit down and have a conversation with David and see what he can do for you. It's David Duvall and One Bath and Closets. You can find him online at onebathandclosets.com.
man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
You work hard every day to pursue a life you love. You put in the time, and it shows. You're forging ahead, chasing a dream, creating something better for the ones you love. You're building your own life, so why not build your own tractor? With John Deere tractors and attachments for almost any need, the Sunshine team can help you do just that. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Chugging right along here on a Tuesday. Hope your work week is off to a good start. Hope to join us tonight at Sports Trivia. Pizza by Roan's on Perkins, 8 o'clock. We will be there. Took last week off for vacation, but back in action tonight at Pizza by Roan's. Win some gift cards, drink some cold beer, eat some pizza. They got great wings over at Pizza by Roan's as well. We'll be there at 8 o'clock on Perkins Road. Sharief Ishaq down in New Orleans, joining us a little bit early this week, but making some time for us on this Tuesday. We certainly do appreciate it. Sharief, how are you?
I enjoyed watching mini Tony V beat the real Tony V on Sunday. My guy, Casey Evans. Legend.
And that Cobble asked Jay Johnson about that, about him looking like Tony Vitello, and Jay was like, "Oh, I never even thought of it." Like, coaches just have no time for like humorous questions in press conferences when they're in the middle of the throes of competition. But yeah, the beard and it all worked out. Casey Evans was awesome on Sunday, and I was happy to see Tennessee heading back to Rocky Top with a couple of losses. Let's talk about the Saints weekend, though. Let's start at the top. They decided to go on the offensive line with their first-round picks. Your thought on that?
Tradition unlike any other.
Yeah.
I felt like that was, as long as Jeff Ireland and Mickey Loomis are there, be prepared for an offensive lineman or defensive lineman to be drafted. I mean, they've drafted one or the other in the first or second round since 2015. So just forget about it. Don't even second guess what they're going to do in the draft. That's why when I made my prediction in a newspaper, they asked me for mine. I fell off of Shedeur Sanders and went straight to Calvin Banks. He's good. I mean, he's played left tackle his entire career at Texas, hasn't missed a game, very durable, very versatile. And he's a good guy. I mean, they do really draft a lot of good, high-character guys who are versatile, and that's what they did this year for sure. I like that pick a lot because I feel like he's moving to the left, Fuaga's going to move to the right, and then you ask yourself what's going to happen with Trevor Penning. I know that's a conversation down the road, but to answer your question, yes, I love that move. I love Calvin Banks. He's a surefire starter. of these draft picks for sure, of all the 9 picks they had.
It's very interesting to hear you say that you think that Banks will play on the left and Fuaga goes to the right. That's certainly where they played in college, and it certainly makes sense. I just haven't seen that everywhere. So how confident are you in that statement?
I feel pretty confident about it because he hasn't played. I mean, you can say that Fuaga never really played on the side he played on last year for a while, but Kelvin hasn't played on the right side since the sophomore year of high school. So at the end of the sophomore year of high school. So it makes me think that, like, you probably just kick him to the left side and do that with him and put him on the left side and just have Fuaga move to the right side. I just don't see Kelvin Banks playing guard. I don't know how that would work. I feel like he's a great left tackle. You leave him at left tackle and just move Fuaga to right tackle. Maybe they move Trevor Penning in at guard and they have things settled there, and then you have your entire offensive line. And you should feel solid about it if Penning can hold his own at guard. But that's just the way it feels to me, that Kelvin's going left and then Fuaga goes right and Penning probably kicks inside.
Tyler Shough, is he the quarterback of the future or is he the quarterback of the
I do like the fact that he's already buying into the city with his Instagram post of "I'll die for y'all on the field." If the offensive line doesn't block for him well enough, maybe he's going to be buying on the field. But yeah, I like that he bought into the city and the franchise. You're just listening to him talk in the Zoom after getting drafted Friday. He's mature, and he should be. He's going to be 26 in September. He's been there. He's done that. 3 schools, 7 years. It's unfortunate he's been he's dealt with some serious injuries, not serious, at least bone breaks, better than tendon issues. But, this collarbone twice, the shoulder, the broken leg, and he finally had the healthy year this year. Look, Hon, he has he certainly has the arm talent at 6'5", 220, 225. He's got the arm talent. He can fling the ball. The one thing with him is the pocket presence if the blitz is coming at his face up the middle. You've heard about him being kind of a little timid whenever the blitz is coming at him. He kind of doesn't know what to do, kind of loses sight of things down the field, maybe with time. Look, this is what Kellen Moore wanted. Mickey got Dennis and Sean their quarterbacks, and he got Kellen his quarterback. So they have to live with it for now. I think the potential is the key word, is there with the guy with his arm talent and his size. It's just fixing some of the other things, and it's with being in the pocket. He can move a little bit around the pocket. It's just, man, there are going to be times where you have to stand still in that pocket and deliver and not be scared and flinch. That's what he has to get rid of to be successful in the NFL. But, yeah, I think it's at least this year and maybe next year. And if it doesn't work out, guess what? If you're bad, you're drafting a quarterback in the first round in 27. And I think everyone knows who's coming out in 2027.
Well, was this the right time in that round to take the quarterback that you wanted?
You just never know what's going to happen. Let's just say if at 40 they would have gone, I don't know, let's just say if they would have gone the highest available cornerback. And then somebody would have jumped up like Cleveland. I don't know what Cleveland's even doing. They got 5 quarterbacks in their roster and drafted 2. Pittsburgh. Let's just say Pittsburgh jumps up and they take Tyler Shough, and you're like, man, who are we going to draft? And they could have probably still drafted Shador if he was going to stick around at 71. Or someone, I just think that the board had gotten really downhill after that. But, yeah, I mean, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. If Kellen Moore wanted him at 40, that's great. I would have not done a quarterback at 40, but I also don't run a billion-dollar franchise. I personally would have addressed some, edge rusher, receiver, cornerback, because those are some of the positions they really need now. And it just doesn't feel like they're in the win mode now unless Kellen flips the switch and Shough and some of these draft picks all hit. I said last week to Taylor that they at least need to hit on 4 or 5 this year and 4 or 5 next year. If they hit on those this year and they somehow miraculously have a big season and prove everyone wrong, they sneak into the playoffs, then that's going to be the job of the century done by Kellen Moore and his staff. But I just don't think I would have done it at 40. I would have probably traded back and maybe have done it and gotten some more picks and try to get more players on my team.
Well, we know that wasn't going to happen, so that's just an impossibility with that franchise. I'm just thrilled they stood there and took all 9 picks. Speaking of that, was there a pick after Shough that you particularly liked, particularly didn't like? That's the part where you try to build the foundation of your team with starters later in the draft. Do you think the Saints potentially accomplish that?
Hunt, I feel like I like a lot of what they did in day 3. In the last few years, they've done well late in like with their late draft picks. I do like Quincy Riley, the cornerback from Louisville, and I really, really like Devin Neal. I mean, you don't become a school's all-time leading rusher and do it from different areas on the field. I like what Devin Neal did, 1,000+ yards each season, so I like him a lot. I think that, like, I'm not saying like he's going to be great, but I'm saying that he can contribute right away. I mean, you don't know what Kendre Miller is going to do. Don't know like how he's going to be. Is he going to be available? Devin has been available pretty much his entire career at Kansas, and I just like his size. I like his speed. I like his experience. For the most part, I like. They drafted a class with experience and good, like, high character players. But I really like Devin Neal, man. I just watching some of the low angle highlights that our station shoot. I'm like, man, he can catch. He can take the snap from shotgun. I mean, he's got speed on the outside. He can run between tackles. I mean, you can't ask for more than that. In the 6th round, you got a 6th-round steal. So if they make something out of that, and then Jonas Sanker is another little sleeper, man. He's like a heat-seeking missile as a safety, and he can play a little bit of special teams. I also like that pickup too. Their 2nd, 3rd round pick. So, there are 3 picks that, like, after the Tyler Shough pick that I really like, and those are the 3 guys. I mean, versatile is what it comes down to with all these draft picks.
Yeah, my question for Devin Neal in the interview: can you go through one training camp rep without getting hurt and being out for a month and a half? And if he said yes, like, all right, well, you're the 2nd-team running back. Welcome to New Orleans.
I mean, that might be it. That might be it, Hunt. I mean, no joking. It really might be that easy for him to step in and be like, all right, you're 2nd behind Alvin Kamara. I mean, he's just raving about how he can't wait to play alongside Alvin Kamara. And I'm like thinking to myself, you might be taking the 2nd most reps behind Alvin. So, yeah, I mean, but if you have all 3 healthy, just watch out. I'm just saying, man, I like that backfield a lot. I mean, that was a sneaky good pick for him to be there in the 6th round. I know people don't really value running backs that much, but if he's a steal in the 6th round for me.
I know y'all asked Mickey and Kellen Moore about wide receiver. They did not address that in this draft. My take yesterday was like, you took a tight end, and there's some potential there with Mataval, but like I probably would have gone wide receiver there instead based on the Juwan Johnson contract. What are your thoughts on what they can possibly do at wide receiver?
Well, I mean, see what's out there. I know Keenan Allen's name is floating around, but he's in the twilight part of his career. Is he going to want to come down and, he had one of his better seasons with Kellen Moore when Kellen was with the Chargers for that one season. But that's also when Justin Herbert was the quarterback. Is he going to want to come to New Orleans when he has Tyler Shough vying for the job alongside of Spencer Rattler? I mean, is he going to want to finish his career like that, or is he going to go find a contender? But that's a ways away to me. I think they're probably going to have to wait until around training camp to address that need, just to see what's out there and who's out there. I mean, he's the only name I just keep hearing. There might be a few other names, but like they need a possession receiver in a bad way, and he can play it out the slot really well. He's a good slot receiver. He can get you those big contested catches, and that's the only thing this team is missing in terms of its receivers core. They got to find a guy who can go across the middle and have some size, and his name is the one that's coming up, and I guess we wouldn't find out until July if that's going to happen. So, I mean, he would be the one I would go for, but is he going to want to do it in this part of his career?
Just all depends. We shall see. Sharief Ishaq, WDSU, with us every single Tuesday. I know you got somewhere to be. We appreciate some time. We'll do it next week.
Anytime for you, Hunt.
That's Sharief Ishaq from down in New Orleans. I'm going to give you my thoughts on Tyler Shough coming up in 2nd hour. When we come back, we'll talk some Tigers with Glenn West. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
You gotta believe in the dream. Believe. You gotta believe in the dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
Bayou Ford is taking 15 to 20% off all new 2024 models in stock. 15 to 20% off all new 2024 Ford models on our lot. Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. YourGoodwood.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime. Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the 2025 Jeep Compass Sport for only $23,995. $23,995 or 2025 Jeep Compass with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Let's transition back to some baseball. Glenn West covers the Tigers for Go 24/7. Was up at the box this weekend. Does a great job covering football, basketball, baseball. He got great recruiting coverage over there as well. He joins us on Tuesdays, does so now on the Jim's Farms Hotline. Glenn, how are you?
Doing well, Hunt. Were you up till 3 in the morning on early Saturday?
I was up that late. I did not go to the game. We were coming back from the beach. The 2-hour delay got announced. My wife's still dealing with unpacking and 2 babies, and I was like, I got to go back home. So I and that was quite a scene at the box. For those that weren't there, one of them, it looked on TV like those that were there were quite boisterous. Was that the case?
I would definitely say yes. There was a little bit more liquid courage in the fan base after the 3.5-hour delay. And actually a good bit of them stayed. Like, I was surprised by the end of the game how many people were still there, just because, these fans are as dedicated as anyone when it comes to baseball. But, staying until 1:45, 2 o'clock in the morning to watch a game is pretty hardcore dedication. So it was a great atmosphere.
How big was Sunday's win, and what was the most important part of it?
Yeah, it was tremendously huge. I mean, like, I don't know that there'll be a more important regular season game that this team plays, and I think that they handled that about as well as you could potentially expect or hope for. And I thought what we saw with Derek Curiel was extremely impressive, and just kind of the game here in a couple years, where if we look back on his career, it's like you remember that Derek Curiel start of this thing for him. So really liked what he was able to do and kind of carrying the offense. And really, I think the most important thing, though, was just that lever there with Kason Evans and putting him in the starting rotation just to see what it looked like. And boy, did he respond in a huge, huge way. You know, you give up the 2 runs there in the first inning, but you throw 5 shutouts the rest of the way. You retire 15 of the 17 batters the rest of the way after that first inning. So I think now that they've seen that they know that he can do that, I think that just opens up a world of possibilities for this pitching staff going forward. I don't think you'll see him pitch every Sunday game going forward. I think they want to keep those options open. But I think that was a really important lesson that this team was able to kind of learn out of that Sunday win, was knowing that they have a guy like Kason Evans who can fill a number of different roles for you if called upon.
One of the other starts in that week, Anthony Ianson. Your confidence level in him right now as a starter in the SEC and as they get closer to postseason?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident in him, just on the sole fact that, man, every time it looks like he's about to go down and out, he finds a way to get out of a big-time jam. And I think that's really important for a pitcher to have that quality to him. And it hasn't always been that smooth sailing. You know, early on in the season, he definitely was giving up some big innings and some big runs in those innings. But really, for the most part of conference play, I mean, he just seems like he's been able to really find another gear when offenses are threatening to really put up a ton of runs on him. And he's able to get a big punch out, a big ground out or pop fly out. He's been really consistent for him over the last really month to 6 weeks. I've been really impressed by what he's been able to do. Only gave up two earned runs in the game on Saturday, and obviously we know what happened after that and kind of the bullpen that let it get away from him a little bit there. But I've been really impressed with Anthony. I think he's going to be a huge part of this team's success and what they're able to accomplish in postseason play.
Another thing offensively for this team, I mentioned it in my open. I wrote about it a little bit today. Steven Milam's hitting 195 in league play. Do you feel like it's some sort of sophomore slump, or do you feel like there's a breakout afoot?
Yeah, you need to get him going because, I think the strange thing for me in watching his at-bats is it doesn't look like he's taking terrible at-bats. I believe he's among the lowest strikeout guys on the roster, and so he's just putting the ball in bad spots or getting under it and putting it in the air too much or too often. But I think he was, one of your best hitters, if not your best hitter in conference play last year. He's done it before. I would lean towards a breakout coming instead of this being more of the same with him. But, it's certainly been a little bit of a perplexing year for him because, he's obviously got immense talent, but we just haven't seen it translate in the numbers yet. But I do think it's on the way.
Glenn Wesco, 24/7, our guest, joins us every Tuesday. They teach you in broadcast school to be quick with your questions, let the guest talk. This one's going to take a second, so let me set the stage here. But I just think it's an interesting dichotomy where LSU has beaten Liam Doyle. They've beaten Kyson Witherspoon. They've beaten Jared Spencer. They beat Pico Khan. They've won games. But if you look at their production against some of those arms, it's not very good. Now, I realize that you usually don't hit aces all that well. That's why they're aces. But when you put all that together in your brain, you consider what you've got to do to win championships in the postseason. Like, how do you feel like LSU is handling the really good arms? Marcus Phillips on Saturday comes to mind as well.
Yeah, I think for me, I go back to an answer that Jay actually gave this last weekend after the Liam Doyle start, where LSU didn't really hit him or see him all that well. But what they were able to do is kind of extend his outing. Like they were able to, get his pitch count up and take good disciplined at bats. And so I think that's been kind of a trend for this team whenever they're facing elite arms is, yes, they might not have all the great success in the first 5 or 6 innings where they're posting 3, 4, 5 runs. But they are doing a good job for the most part of staying disciplined in their approach and extending bats or at bats and forcing the elite pitchers to make a good pitch to get them out kind of deal. So I think that's probably been the positive, if you want to spin it that way, against some of these elite arms. Is that something you can bank on in postseason play? I don't know. I think you have to have some kind of success against some of those elite arms and being able to get them out earlier in games. But I think the fact that they've kind of maintained their disciplined approach for the most part against some of those elite arms and kind of getting them out in that 5th, 6th inning, I don't believe any of those guys have gone super deep into the games, which is, obviously a good thing to kind of, open up the bullpen and see if you can have some success in the end of games there. So that would be kind of the positive spin I'd have on it. But I think at the same time, you also would like to see them get a few more runs on some of those elite arms.
Lastly, tonight, Southeastern comes in. We have the same conversation every Tuesday. Who you want to see out of the bullpen tonight? Who's making a step forward? And we have that conversation every week. At this point, do you feel like you can gain anything from a game against a Southland team in the midweek, or do you need to see it on the weekend?
Yeah, you need to see it on the weekends at this point. I mean, these guys have shown that they can go out there and throw strikes for the most part. Obviously, last week, bar last week, but they've done a pretty good job with handling the midweek opponents to this point. And I think for me, it's just about getting some of these guys those extra reps. I've been saying, William Schmidt in the midweeks is kind of the thing that you'd like to see, and just kind of him still pitching through some of the struggles and gaining some confidence in some of those midweek games. Clearly, he's not somebody that I think is quite ready to pitch in the SEC, given on what has now been a 7 or 8 week sample size. They need him to get going in some way. But for me, I think tonight in particular, would love to see Connor Ware get an inning or two. Hadn't pitched for a little while now, didn't pitch this last weekend. And so if they're able to get him going for, 3 outs or 4 outs, whatever it is that they want to get him, he's got to be, I think, that guy after Evans and after Zach Cowan out of the bullpen that you're going to have to really rely on for some big outs come postseason play, and certainly down the stretch here of SEC play. So getting him some more work and just kind of tuned up for the weekend, I think will be a benefit for LSU.
How many do they win in College Station?
I would like to say 2. The way that A&M has been playing, I know that they just got swept by Texas, but all 3 of those games came down to the last pitch against the number 1 team in the country. They've been red hot. They're going to obviously be playing with their backs against the wall. I wouldn't be surprised if A&M wins this series, but I think if LSU goes in there and is able to get 1, you leave and you're content with that. So I think that would probably be my prediction right now. And then you get a chance to make up for it, obviously, with Arkansas and coming to the box and getting you one final big time SEC series win in the box in a couple weeks.
We will see you next time, Glenn. We appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Hunt.
He's Glenn West, senior writer over there at Go 24/7. Your team coverage, recruiting coverage. They got you covered over there at Go 24/7. We're chugging along here on a Tuesday. Appreciate you hanging out with us. LSU now had a pretty big time commitment. I'm not surprised. I'll tell you why next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the 2025 Jeep Compass Sport for only $23,995. $23,995 or 2025 Jeep Compass with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Bayou Ford is taking 15 to 20% off all new 2024 models in stock. 15 to 20% off all new 2024 Ford models on our lot. Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, closing up hour number 1 here on this Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Got a lot to do in hour number 2. We'll start things off with my thoughts on the Saints drafting Tyler Shough. We'll get to that in about 12 minutes. LSU got a commitment for the class of 2026 yesterday. Haven Finney, 4-star cornerback out of Los Angeles, California. On 3 ranks him as the number 2 cornerback in the country. He's 6'2". He's 170 pounds. Had offers from Southern Cal, Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan. But big time player. Depending on the service you look at, he's a top 50 player here. Number 2 corner in the state of California here. He's a big time prospect, no matter how you want to slice it. And I'm not here today to break down the potential in the game and the technical skills of Haven Finney. That's something that we'll learn down the road potentially. We all know that in recruiting, it's not over until it's over, and then it is over, and they come and they transfer out, and you never know. But the point being, he's a really good player at defensive back. He's from California, and he's committed to LSU. And I'm not surprised by that. And I'll tell you why I'm not surprised by that. Because there are very, very few guarantees when you hire coaches. It's usually a crapshoot. But sometimes there are guarantees. And the very second Corey Raymond walked back into that football facility last year, it was a guarantee that LSU was going to get into all of these living rooms. All of them. Because it's not a guarantee you're going to get them. It wasn't a guarantee you were going to get them in the pre-NIL world. But you've got a guarantee now with that logo on the helmet and that assistant coach coaching that position, you are going to get into these living rooms like he's done for a decade and a half. Sometimes you don't get Pat Surtain, but you were in the final two. But there were a lot of times you did. And some of them were in-state. Derek Stingley and Christian Fulton and Dante Jackson and Greedy Williams or Davius White. And all that's great. But a lot of times, it was out of state with Eli Ricks and Jamal Adams and Jacoby Stevens and Rashard Robinson and Kevin Tolliver, Eric Monroe. Now, those guys had varying levels of success. But if you want to go back and look at where they were ranked when they were coming out of high school, these were the elite of the elite in the defensive backfield. Now, Corey did defensive backfield for 4 years. He did just corners for a few after that. But the fact of the matter is that for a run there of 10 years, if there was an elite level defensive back, whether it was in Baton Rouge or Shreveport like Stingley and White, or it was nationwide like Jacoby Stevens or Eli Ricks or Kevin Tolliver, who was the top cornerback in the country, Corey Raymond was getting in that living room. And more often than not, they were coming to LSU. And I'll tell you what else is beyond debate. When he left, that stopped. And now he's back, and it's going to continue. Because he's got that kind of reputation, and LSU's that kind of brand, and DBU is that real. Now, I say all of that understanding that in the NIL world, Haven Finney may never play a snap for LSU. But I walked out there. Jay Pickett was running around out there. He's here. And Corey Raymond is the reason for that. So this is just one piece to the puzzle here, but it was one that for a couple of years was very much missing. And I'm not here to point fingers and say that he said, she said. I'm just here to tell you that when Corey Raymond was hired back to LSU, it was a huge positive for the program. In the same way that when Corey Raymond left LSU and wasn't brought back, it was a big mistake. But it's been corrected. And now you're going to continue to see this while he's coaching defensive backs. Because he's an awesome recruiter. He's an awesome relationship builder. He's an excellent developer of talent. And there are guys that are cashing monstrous checks all over the place on Sundays that played for him in Baton Rouge. So Haven Finney may be the next All-American Thorpe Award winner first-round pick, because heaven knows we've had a lot of those in the last 15 years. He may never play a snap for LSU. I don't really care about that today. But what I'm telling you is you look at the class LSU just signed with Aiden Anding and DJ Pickett. I mean, it was solid on the defensive backfield. You look at the commitments in this class, go down and get Hall from Carr, and then go out west and grab Haven Finney. Like, you look at the defensive backs that LSU is putting together, specifically at cornerback, this is the way it's going to be. And in this era of football, where everybody's spreading it out and quarterbacks are throwing for 1 billion yards, you got to be able to run and cover. And my contention the last 2 years is that LSU was simply not nearly good enough in coverage. And most of that is talent. You can teach technique, you can drill it, but you've got to go get guys that one, are big enough, physical enough, and have the skills and quickness to run with guys, and then the ball skills to make plays on it, and then you work with that. And Haven Finney is right out of the Corey Raymond playbook at 6'2". Some have him listed at 6'3" and 170 pounds. You put him across from DJ Pickett, which, of course, would only happen for potentially 2 years, one after he's a freshman. That's way down the road and probably foolish to even talk about. But these are the type of lengthy, rangy athletes that Corey Raymond seeks out and ultimately lands. Big-time commitment for LSU. We'll see if it pays off in the early signing period coming up in December. But it's just something that's going to continue to happen as long as he's coaching the corners here in Baton Rouge. I'm thrilled he's back. I think you probably should be too. And Haven Finney, a little bit more proof that LSU's got the right guy back there coaching the cornerbacks. If you're looking for LSU football content, we got it year-round. It's at Hunt on LSU, wherever you find your podcast, certainly wherever on YouTube as well. Just search Hunt on LSU. You can like, subscribe, rate, review. All that helps us get our content in front of as many people as possible, so we appreciate y'all doing that each and every day. Busy hour number one here on this Tuesday. We talked LSU Southeastern a little bit at the top of the show, what Jared Jones could potentially accomplish tonight. Sharief Ishaq talking Saints draft at 1:15. Glenn West talking baseball at 1:30. Then a little LSU football as well. Kind of hit everything on the board. If you missed any, want to catch it on demand, you certainly can do that anywhere you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show, and it should be there for you. In the second hour, got to talk about where the LSU players went in the NFL draft. I've certainly got some LSU baseball resume to talk, because you got 3 weekends left in conference play, and we'll come back. Should the Saints have taken a quarterback with their second pick in this draft? I've got my thoughts on that. We'll do it after SportsCenter. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Come back with us for hour number 2 of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge, genesisofbatonrouge.com. When I say Genesis of Baton Rouge, you should automatically think luxury vehicles. And when I say luxury vehicle, don't immediately go, well, I certainly can't pay for that. You don't know until you go look. Genesis model is a luxury brand of vehicle, a luxury experience at a reasonable price. That is what Genesis promises to you. The odds are, if you're listening to me right now, you've never been behind the wheel of a Genesis. The odds are you've never been over to Genesis of Baton Rouge. Hasn't been here that long. Only been at Airline and PQ just over 2 years. Go stop by the dealership. Get behind the wheel. Have a conversation with one of their brand ambassadors. You will feel like a guest, not a customer. You will not be upsold. You will not be pressured. You'll just have a wonderful experience. And if you get behind the wheel of a Genesis, you will feel that difference. Every car that is on the lot is online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. They're at Airline and PQ. You can find them online at genesisofbatonrouge.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. Sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Nick DeLuca. The Niners taking care of one of their own. San Francisco signing five-time All-Pro tight end George Kittle to a 4-year, $76.4 million extension with $40 million guaranteed. Kittle was top 3 in yards per reception and touchdown catches at the position a year ago. San Francisco checks the box on one extension this offseason. Where do they land on quarterback Brock Purdy's deal? ESPN's Adam Schefter doesn't think Kittle's new contract affects Purdy.
I think that deal is kind of what it is, and I think the two sides have been working on it, and just because George Kittle gets a deal done doesn't mean that the 49ers are going to up their offer or offer less or have less cash to go around. Like, the Purdy deal is on its own, and the two sides have been working on it.
Schefter on Unsportsmanlike. In college football, new contract for Boise State head coach Spencer Danielson. He gets a 5-year deal, went 12-2 in 2024, winning the Mountain West and making an appearance in the Fiesta Bowl against Penn State. Led the Broncos to the college football playoff in year 1.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Wednesday, we'll continue to react to 4 huge Game 5s as we look ahead to the Lakers, who are facing a must-win. It's on Sportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour number 2, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. LSU baseball, 30 minutes from right now. A little bit of an issue with LSU's football in the NFL draft. I didn't get to that yesterday. Didn't have enough time. Just too much to get to. So we'll get to that in 15 minutes. Another thing I didn't get to yesterday is that the Saints drafted a quarterback and, for all intents and purposes, drafted the guy they think is the future. Talk about it. The first thing I want to say about this is that I'm not here to analyze the skills. No one is any good at evaluating what quarterbacks are going to do when they go from college to the NFL. The draft analysts get it wrong. It's a complete crapshoot and the most risky and potentially rewarding thing in all of American sports. So I'm not going to sit here and speak with authority on how Tyler South. That's not really the issue. I'm here to speak about of their franchise. That, I think, to me, is a more reasonable discussion to have some conviction on. So let's talk about what the Saints did here. They took a 26-year-old quarterback who played 6 years of college football at 3 different schools, was injured 3 times, and had a really nice 6th year at Louisville, playing for a very quarterback-friendly coach. That's kind of the gist of what the Saints did. They selected him with the 40th pick in the NFL draft in the 2nd round. First thing, if this works, it's phenomenal. You've got a quarterback on a rookie deal that's got great size, that's inarguable, good arm strength, that's inarguable, was productive his last year, and you can even go back to Tyler Shough's young career and suggest, like, this is a very talented guy. He was an Elite 11 quarterback. He was a 4-star recruit by Rivals 24/7 and ESPN. He was the number 40 player in the country by 24/7. He signed with Oregon over offers from Alabama and Florida State and Georgia and Michigan. He played 3 years at Oregon, 15 games. He backed up Justin Herbert for a year. He was their starter in the COVID year, transferred over to Texas Tech, played 15 games in 3 years, got hurt a couple of times. Then he goes to Louisville and has a really nice season, 63% completion, threw for over 3,000 yards, about 265 yards a game, 23 touchdowns, 6 picks. Thought that was really good. I looked at most specifically his 3 games at Notre Dame, at Clemson, and against Miami. Notre Dame's got a great defense last year. He threw for 264 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Really nice go in South Bend. Went to Clemson. That's a really tough place to play. Completed about 50% of his throws, 150 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. So that's kind of an uneven performance. Then Miami's defense was atrocious this year. But that's a shootout. You're going to get in with Cam Ward. He completed 31 of 51 for 342, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions against a bad Miami defense that's got its coordinator fired. So the prospect to me looks fine. He looks like a fine prospect. He's got size. He's got talent. He played a lot, even though he got hurt a lot. The injuries don't bother me because they were bone injuries and not soft tissue stuff. You're not talking about a labrum or a UCL or a couple of ACLs or anything like that. And I certainly do not care at all about the fact that he's 26 as far as that being a negative. In the Major League Baseball draft, sure, that's a negative. As a quarterback in the NFL, if he gets to the point in New Orleans where he's old, 10 years from now when he's 36, this worked. So who gives a rip if he's 26 years old? That bothers me zero. I just think the process by which the Saints went in selecting a quarterback in the second round has some flaws in my opinion. Why do I say that? Because the vast majority of the very early draft picks, and the vast majority of quarterbacks who are taken in the second round and beyond don't pan out. Yes, you have Kirk Cousins. Yes, you have Jalen Hurts. Yes, you have Brock Purdy. But you can point to those really good quarterbacks that are franchise guys are early picks. Look at the great quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Early picks in the draft. Now, Jalen Hurts wasn't. Baker Mayfield's the end-all, be-all. Bryce Young still got a lot of work to do. But those are really early picks. So is C.J. Stroud. I mean, Anthony Richardson. You can go to any organization. Most of the time, you've got a really early pick. And so, statistically speaking, this probably won't work. But if it does, you've got a lottery ticket that pays huge. And so, for better or for worse, like Kellen Moore Rattler. And if it doesn't work, he's probably not here. My opinion, and we talked about this pre-draft when we never mentioned Tyler Shough's name. We talked about some other guys, and I certainly didn't want them taking a quarterback at 9, even after all I just said, because I didn't think any of those guys warranted the number 9 pick. So I didn't think that was a great idea. I felt like you needed to go get a bunch of starters to remake the foundation of the roster in the early rounds of this draft. Into the second round, number 40, certainly is that spot. Where I think you go edge rusher. I think you go wide receiver. I think you go linebacker. I think that's what I would have done. But if Kellen Moore feels convicted in this, then let him hitch his wagon to it. I personally would not have done it. But I can see the very real positives that could be produced. Because if you can Jalen Hurts this thing and get a cheap quarterback who's really mature, who should be able to step in and have a presence in the locker room, it can work. And that's the great hope. And let's be frank, the Saints haven't given this kind of hope in 50 years. They have not taken a quarterback this early in 50 years. So that in itself is exciting. Statistically speaking, your odds aren't very good. But your odds aren't very good in the lottery. Your odds aren't very good in those 50-50 drawings they do at baseball games where you toss $2 in and then everybody tosses $2 in and you get to win half of it.
Your odds aren't very good if you don't try.
They're terrible. They're terrible. But and that's a great point. My contention would be start Rattler this year and then really see where you're at next year.
I agree.
But we knew the Saints weren't going to do that.
Yeah, we did. And to me, I think, or at least looking at the other quarterbacks that were available at that time and who, no one could have predicted Shedeur Sanders' fall, and time will tell why that happened. But still, I rather see the Saints take somebody in that pick that could be a starter or at least contribute on day one instead of taking a guy that, I feel like you could probably get a quarterback of similar caliber in the third round later in the third round when you had those picks. So that's where I'm at for it. But again, like we've said, you have to try. That's the only way.
And if we're talking about process here, and I can't know everything because we're certainly. If you decided because it's clear that the Saints did a lot of work on the quarterbacks on this. That work was done, that's the guy. And we don't have to jump up at 9. We probably don't have to trade back into the first round. That's the guy at our spot that can work. And if that I get a quarterback who's still on the board, Shough's there. That was a pretty good interview. Go. And I'll never know that. We'll never know that. But if that's the guy, okay, I'm okay with it. I'm thrilled that the Saints rushed to the podium at 9 to try to force a quarterback. And I'm okay with the fact that they took Shough. I wouldn't have done it. Statistically speaking, your odds aren't great, but they are better than if you hadn't taken a quarterback at all and trying to find your quarterback. So it's a tepid take by me. I'm aware of that. I think that's representative of how I feel about the situation. I'm hopeful, as all Saints fans should be, that you have hit that Jalen Hurts jackpot, that you do have a coach who actually just coached Jalen Hurts, who knows how to work with inexperienced, I can't really say young with Shough, inexperienced quarterbacks and get the best out of them. And then you've got a lot of other draft picks to work with. And if you can find Shough some experience this year and some positives to draw out of it, if he's your starter, and you go 5-12, then you're back up towards the top of the draft and you can go start getting more impact players with the understanding that you've got the most important box checked off. Because we all know that nothing's more important than the quarterback. Nothing. The quarterback's more important than the coach to me. I might get some pushback on that, but I'd kind of point over towards Belichick's resume and it'd ring pretty strong. And you could point to New Orleans not having Sean Payton, and that would be pretty strong because Drew Brees didn't do great when he was out for Bountygate. But the point being, quarterback's vital. So this should give Saints fans a ton of hope that maybe that's right. And if it is, you can really push off the dock and have something. That's the hope that you've got. Is the statistical odd in your favor? It's not. But it really rarely is drafting that quarterback. It's just not that often that a surefire dude comes out with that first pick. Sometimes you get the Jameis Winston or the Bryce Young pick. Saints have never been in that spot, but they're rolling the dice here. We'll see what comes up. If you're looking for Saints coverage, you can always find ours at Hunt on Saints on YouTube. Hunt on Saints. Subscribe to it. Saints content all year long. Appreciate y'all for doing that moving forward. Let's talk some more NFL draft. Where did this LSU guys go, and what does it mean for them? Plus, a take on last year's team relative to what we saw over the weekend. That's next. Group Highland IG. You're a CFO or owner of a company, you're a risk manager at a company, you probably do. But if you don't, and you feel like you pay a lot of money for insurance, and that has not been presented to you by your broker, that may be an issue. Jonathan Carbo and his team figure out if you can be placed in one. Got to figure out if it makes sense for you from a dollars and cents perspective. But Every business owner I talked to when I was in insurance said, yeah, I pay way too much in insurance. This is a way to manage those dollars and cents more effectively if you qualify. That hasn't been presented to you. As a CFO, as a business owner, as a risk manager, go by the Howland Insurance Group today. Say, Jonathan, I heard about this on Hunt's show. What do you got for me? He's happy to have that conversation with you. That doesn't cost you anything, speaking about dollars and cents. It's Jonathan Carbone's team at the Howland Insurance Group. You can find them online at highlandig.com. highlandig.com.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
For over 50 years.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show. This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, NFL draft wrapped up over the weekend, started up on Thursday, continued Friday evening, and then into the afternoon on Saturday. The NFL really knows how to make it an event. I'm a little shocked. Beck, give me your take on this. And look, I do weird stuff. I go watch LSU practice baseball in the fall. I like to watch golf. No one wants to do that. I sit there and watch YouTube videos of other people playing golf. I do whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
Okay. Go into that draft in Green Bay, Wisconsin, with that many, and take some in from North Carolina you've never heard of, and then showing up again on Saturday. That is It's not in my playbook. It's just not for me. Are they like selling a lot of concessions out there? Are people getting some cold drinks? Are we just standing in a pack with a bunch of people with painted faces watching the commissioner? It's just not my scene.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the actual draw is. I mean, I guess if you're the first pick, then maybe it'd be pretty cool to say, "Oh, I was there whenever we drafted, whoever as the first pick in the draft." But other than that, like, yeah, if you're a Saints fan, you go to Green Bay to see the Saints draft this offensive tackle from Texas.
And the other piece is like, it'd be one thing if the draft was in Vegas or Miami. It's in Green Bay. I've been to Green Bay. There's not much there. But it's in a neighborhood.
Yes.
And like has a bunch of folks in there sitting in their garage drinking cold beers. Trust me, I got no problem sitting in the garage drinking cold beers, but there's not a lot to do. Easy to get there either. What are we flying into Milwaukee, driving over?
Maybe.
I mean, that's quite an event.
It is.
I think
you gotta be a true fan, a true sicko.
It's more proof of this, as if we needed any proof at all. The NFL is a freaking monster, and it cannot be contained. Like everything they do turns to gold.
Yeah, I'd be interested for them to just put it in the put the draft. Let's just put the draft in the most remote location, and there's still going to be 50,000 people there.
Got the draft. I tell you what the most remote location was. The LSU women just played their regional there, Spokane, Washington.
Yes, let's do the draft
there. There's the draft.
Yep.
We're going to be right outside Gonzaga's campus. Come see. There'll be 60,000.
Yep.
Raiders fans, people, Eagles will be there. Terrible towels waving everywhere. People just can't get enough of it. But LSU was well represented in the NFL draft over the weekend. In all, you had 5 LSU players selected. It started with Will Campbell to the Patriots. I think that is a great spot for Will to go. They're trying to find their way under a brand new coach in Mike Vrabel. He's clearly going to want to be physical, and Will Campbell is a physical dude. And I have no doubt he's going to be a really good player in the NFL. I'm not here to have the arm length discussion. I'm not here to have the left tackle versus right tackle versus guard discussion. I'll let Mike Vrabel work that out, and I have no idea what's on the Patriots' offensive line. But Will Campbell's going to be a part of that, and I think he's probably going to be part of it for a long time. He's the best offensive lineman in my time at LSU, and I know that there are going to be so many people that roll their eyes at that because LSU didn't run the ball well for the last 2 years, and there is credence to that. But a complete that 4 offensive line got drafted. Will Campbell. You had Emory Jones in the 3rd round. The Lions and Garrett Dellinger. Because they were 4- and 5-star recruits. They draft guys because they turn. And enough organizations, lineman is somebody. And so this is something that I'm going to go back to. There are going to be moments when Garrett Nussmeyer's on his back on 3rd down. And it's going to happen than it did this past year. That does not mean LSU is going to lose more games. It does not mean LSU is toast. It does not mean that LSU can't go out there and make the playoff and make a push of this thing. It does not mean that. Your offensive line can't help but take a little step back from having 4 guys drafted, including the highest-ranked draft pick in the history of the program. Like, this is very... I'm struggling to find the word, which is literally my job. This is not a small thing. Like, it's a big deal that 4 LSU offensive linemen got drafted in the same draft. So for all those guys, I'm fired up. Like, really good organizations. Campbell to the Patriots. Emory Jones goes to the Ravens, where he's going to fit in front of Lamar Jackson. That's fantastic. You see Miles Frazier go to the Lions. They've got maybe the best offensive line in the league, so he's going to have to hustle as a 5th rounder to try to make that team. But I think what he did as a right guard at LSU, as a tackle at Florida International, as a tackle in the Texas Bowl, and then what he did at the Senior Bowl, where he was great. I think that all helped him with his versatility, try to make that team as a swingman. And then Garrett Dellinger, I'll tell you this, he went to the Ravens as well. I had a conversation with someone in the LSU football building in December that felt like Garrett Dellinger was the second best offensive lineman on that team past Will Campbell. And so that speaks a lot to what he was able to do here. It's a lot of starts and a lot of really good football players headed to the NFL. Mason Taylor, second-round pick. What a great story that is. Nick Saban called that the biggest recruiting miss in his time at Alabama, and you can obviously put those two things together. Nick coached Jason Taylor with the Dolphins, and Mason came to Alabama's camp and was the best tight end at their camp, and they didn't extend that offer, and LSU scooped him up. He becomes the most productive tight end in LSU history, and oh, by the way, scores the game-winning two-point conversion to beat Alabama as a true freshman, and then becomes a second-round pick in the NFL draft to the New York Jets. It's very, very cool for Mason Taylor. A great story for him. Savion Jones in the third round, I will be completely honest, shocked me. Savion very clearly had his best season this past year. I think Kevin Peoples and Savion himself deserve a ton of credit for that. But turned into a third-round pick who wasn't a great pass rusher, but clearly did a great job against the run. And I'll tell you this, Savion Jones was sent to the interview room more often than anybody else this year on Wednesdays and was just great to talk to every Wednesday. Humble, great attitude, said the right things. Now, plenty of times you interview someone in front of a microphone and then you go, in their personal life and things are different. But I'm just telling you from my experience with Savion Jones, great dude, just an awesome dude. So I personally just feel great for him to be up to a third-round pick. Like, that's a guy who's got a real chance to make a team and have a great career. Sean Payton of the Denver Broncos nab him. I would not have it until the fifth round, but I think that pass rush ability gives you the opportunity to make a team no matter where you're picked, because if you have that trait, you will make a team. You will get a chance because the ability to get after quarterbacks, and especially when you're looking at an organization in Denver that's doing, in New England, I'm talking Savion Jones in Denver that can get after the passer in the AFC West, but with Swinson in a division there that has Josh Allen in Buffalo, that's got Tua down in Miami, that's got to deal with those guys, like, you got to get after the passer. And if he can do that for New England, he can absolutely make that team. So to me, great stuff for LSU to have 7 players drafted. That's super. I think a lot of guys in some really good fits. Big hat tip to the LSU offensive line, all 4 of them being selected, and we'll see what those guys can go on to do. A lot of really good players and a lot of really good dudes as well. Spoke to Will Campbell, Mason Taylor a bunch over the year, and also Braden Swinson came to us a good bit. And then Miles Frazier obviously had some great interviews on this station, especially over at the Senior Bowl. So best of luck to those guys, and good on them for their work over the weekend being selected into the NFL. I've got a column up at LouisianaSports.net that talks about Missouri baseball. Why? Well, I'll tell you next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
There it is, the extra mile. on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why at the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, getting you back in the game. So whatever you, Auctioner Andrews Institute, long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
It'll be LSU and Southeastern Louisiana tonight from the box, 6:30 first pitch. You can listen to it on Eagle 98.1 pregame fires up. And Lions, I previewed it at the top of the show if you want to go check that out on demand. One of my favorite things to do all year is now upon us, and that is resume crunching for the college baseball field of 64. Some years you're crunching it for a top 16. Some years you're crunching it to get in, which is where LSU was last year. Either way, I like it. I mean, interesting to me to start analyzing it. And you can't really do that until the calendar really turns to May, which it will this week. And I wrote a column up at LouisianaSports.net, and you could suggest it's a reach, and I wouldn't argue you. But I personally don't think it's ridiculous to start talking about this because it's unprecedented. We don't have any precedent for what I'm. When the schedule came out for this baseball season, I'm making the NCAA tournament. Bear with me. Was on LSU schedule. That's a really nice draw because we know last year LSU went through the ringer in the first 15 games of conference. You had to go to Starkville, came home for Florida, had to go to Fayetteville, had to go to Knoxville, had to play Vanderbilt. It was brutal. Missouri to start things. And LSU swept Missouri. And I came on here on Monday and I said, look, that's a nice favor from the league office. You take it, you move on. You're 3-0. That's a great place to be. And it was. And it still probably is. But now we've got Missouri is 0-21. Not only are they 0-21, they have been run ruled in 10 of 21 league games. Just about half the time they get out there, they can't even force 9 innings. This is historical ineptitude by Missouri. They're being outscored in league play 240-81. That is an average per game of 11.5 to 4. South Carolina's RPI, which is the 15th best in the SEC, is 55th. That's 98 spots of difference in the RPI. Missouri's 153 RPI with the number 10 strength of schedule is almost impossible. It's almost impossible to do that. And you're sitting there listening to me in your car or on demand or wherever, and you're going, Hunt, why are you telling me about an 0-21 baseball team? Who cares? They stink. Their season's going to be over in 3 weeks and 1 game in Hoover. What's the point? The point is it could negatively impact LSU. I'm not telling you it will. I'm telling you it could. Here's why. Because you have to start looking at conference strength of schedule and not just non-conference strength schedules, because not all conference schedules are the same now with these monstrous conferences. There are 5 teams in the SEC that don't get to play Missouri. The 7 that have already played them got 3 free wins. And you got to go out there and play, but the proof is in the pudding. They're 0-21. You're going to beat them. 3 of the teams are Vanderbilt, Auburn, and Tennessee. And today, on April 29th, Vanderbilt, Auburn, and Tennessee are very much in contention to be top 8 national seeds along with LSU. And if the committee gets down to a point where they think they've hit their quota, which should never happen, but if they think, well, we're not going to add all these SEC teams in the top 8, we're not giving them 6 top 8 seeds. We're going to cut it off here at 5. We're going to cut it off here at 4. Whatever the case may be, if they start doing that and you start stacking yourself against Tennessee, Auburn, and Vanderbilt, all of a sudden, I don't think it's out of the question for one of the committee people to stand up and go, well, you know, Auburn and Vanderbilt and Tennessee didn't get to play Missouri and get 3 free wins. So if LSU's got 20 league wins, this is not a conversation. But if LSU's got 19 league wins and Auburn's got 18 league wins, is 9. Auburn swept LSU. Yeah, LSU finished ahead of them in the conference, but they got to play Missouri. Auburn didn't. Vanderbilt's RPI right now is 3. Now LSU has a better mark in the league. Vanderbilt, they're tied in the league. But Vanderbilt didn't play Missouri. And if you're thinking, well, that's not going to happen. Like, back to my first ever professional. Got a job writing for Bayou Bengals Insider covering LSU. And the first thing I had to do was go to the Memorial Day selection show in the Champions Club at Alex Box Stadium. And we watched it with the team. And LSU got left out. They had finished 13-17. They went to Starkville the last weekend of the season. Can't know for sure. It was somewhere between 26 and 28, 29. But it was in the 20s, which is very much in the field most of the time. And they got left out. Why'd they get leave? I told you on ESPN. This is 2011. It's been a minute. But he said, well, LSU had 13 SEC wins, but 6 of them came against Kentucky, worst teams in the league. Tennessee that year went 7-23, and Kentucky went 8-22. And he held that against LSU 14 years ago. Different guy, different committee chair, different group. Part at that point. And I'll tell you this, if Missouri was 8-22, we would not have this discussion. But you've got to have the discussion if they go 0-4. All of a sudden that conference, and that's all we talk about here. Win 13 or 14, you're in the tournament. Win 16 or 17, you're a host. Win 19 or 20, you're top 8. We talk about those league wins. This could be a wrench in that. I'm just telling you. I'm not telling you it will be. And I am telling you that if LSU gets to 20 wins, I'm very, very confident they will be a top 8. Now, keep in mind, Arkansas, 2 or 3 years ago, I have it written in my column at LouisianaSports.net, won 20 games in the SEC in the regular season and didn't even host a regional. So it's not cut and dried. But I'm comfortable right now with where LSU is and what's left on their schedule. And if they get to 20 conference wins, I think they'll be a top 8 national seed. But if you get to 19 or 18 and you're jockeying with Auburn and Vanderbilt, Missouri on your schedule and they don't, all of a sudden that RPI becomes more important. That strength of schedule becomes more important. And LSU's strength of schedule is bad. Their non-conference strength of schedule is terrible. Their RPI is worse than these teams I'm talking about. So if you start to do the metrics outside of conference record, Auburn and Vanderbilt start to look more attractive. Now, I think Auburn and Vanderbilt are going to struggle to win as many games as they need to down the stretch, and we'll change the conversation as the data changes. That's one of my favorite things to do, and we're going to do it every day starting in a week and a half. But I'm just throwing this out there initially as we get close here. 0-30 is a loud thing. And because some of these teams don't play Missouri, it may be a talking point if we're trying to split hairs at the end. And that's what this is. It's a subjective beauty contest come Memorial Day. LSU can take that out of the committee's hands by going to win a bunch of games. Go on the road and sweep A&M this weekend. I'm not going to have a conversation about Missouri. Sweep Arkansas and win 2 out of 3 there. I'm not talking about Missouri. Go to South Carolina, play a team that's checked out, wants to go in the transfer portal. Fine. Win 3-4 games in Hoover. We're not talking about Missouri. I'm not telling you this is going to matter. I'm telling you I'm aware of it right now, and don't be surprised if I bring it up again in a couple weeks. If you'd like to see it all kind of laid out in number form with the resumes, with some historical examples, I've got a column up at LouisianaSports.net that lays it all out. This is not a data point I've ever looked at because I've never seen anything like what Missouri is. It's egregious how little they try at baseball, and the results are showing that. And for one athletic department to go 0-18 in basketball 2 years ago and knock on the door of 0-30 coming in here is pretty remarkable. Gotta love those Kansas City and St. Louis TV markets, though. Cha-ching. They don't win anything, literally lose every game, but you're raking that money in Birmingham. Interesting stuff, and we'll talk about it as we move forward with the last couple weeks of college baseball season. All right, we got one segment to go. We'll play some Take It or Leave It, and we'll get out of here on a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Safety, probably a big deal if you're in the market for a vehicle. If you go shop at Genesis of Baton Rouge, you will know that you're getting behind the wheel of one of the safest cars on the road, because every single model on the line, every single model was a IIHA top safety pick. Some of them were top safety picks plus. So from the entry level to the highest end, you're talking about a car that is among the safest on the road. It's a big, big deal. So you start there, then you go check out the style, the comfort, all those bells and whistles that come with a luxury brand of vehicle. That's all there for you at Genesis of Baton Rouge. And if you make a purchase, every single purchase comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Every single purchase comes with 3 years of complimentary valet maintenance. It's all there at Genesis of Baton Rouge. I invite you to go by and see them. Airline at Pico across from Women's Hospital, or start your process today online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge, no matter what crime you're accused of. Call 225-343-1111, your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Clinic bring you the Dreams Come True Radiothon. Dreams Come True is an organization designed to help grant dreams for children with life. Dreams Come True Radiothon is presented today by Luba. Donate today at 1045ESPN.com.
After that segment, Beck, what are the odds that Missouri rips off 5 of their last 9 here? We got A&M, Mississippi State.
Yeah, and then they have Georgia, or
I'm not sure.
They have somebody at home that's going to be very difficult. I can't remember who it was, but
I know that for a fact they have those two, because the AD saw Missouri on the schedule and was like, I don't want him to get hot, and then I got to keep him. Like, just get rid of him while we can.
Let's see. I can tell you.
Yeah, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, Georgia.
It's going to be tough for a team that can't pitch at all.
Yeah.
To beat Georgia.
And then they have to play. Kansas is not a bad baseball team, and then they've got to go to College Station, and then they have Mississippi State at home. So yeah, not easy.
Here's the deal with that series in College Station. I don't think because you can't lose one of those games.
No,
you have to win all 3. That's a very difficult thing to. Like that's tough, even though everyone's done it against Missouri.
Not great. It's half. Not a
poor start for your boys.
Very poor start. Yes.
Did the man boys ready to play?
It didn't seem that way.
Came out flat. My favorite cliche.
They did.
Love to hear came out flat.
They came out pretty flat.
That's my favorite thing.
I would agree with that statement.
There's I need to sit down one day and go over all the sports cliches I despise. Came out flat. Is
that in the top 5 for you?
Probably so.
Yeah.
You know what's probably number 1? And a guy like.
Oh.
When oftentimes you're just literally speaking about that person. Garrett Nussmeier, he's actually the quarterback. So how about when you have Garrett Nussmeier?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I don't like a guy like. I mean, it's just wasted words.
Yeah.
When you have Garrett Nussmeier,
Well, you know what? My top thing is not actually what. It's not a player thing. It's a reporter thing where they always start the question.
Talk about.
Yeah. Could you talk about? Well, no matter what question you ask, they're going to talk about it.
Some journalists will staunchly defend the talk about.
I don't
creates
understand
longer quotes.
Yeah, but it's you don't. It's unnecessary.
It's like you got a guy like Paul Skeens. Well, when you have Paul Skeens, when Paul Skeens is your pitcher, here's what you do. I got to sit down and go through it. That might be. It might be we have not gone through a summer at LouisianaSports.net yet.
It's true.
Certainly done it on the air here, but there may be some time to get a little creative with something like that. I may go into the sports cliches that really
find some really good examples of people using that cliche in like a big time situation. Maybe I don't know.
I mean, here's proof of the cliche. Got a runner on second, 2 outs, left-handed hitters up, change up away. He singles to left field. The runner comes in. What's the color analyst going to say? Such a great piece of hitting.
Great piece of hitting.
And they never, if you pull it if you pull it, no one ever says that's a great piece of hitting.
No, you
when
hit it the other
Derek
way.
Curiel's single to tie the game on Friday night was a great piece of hitting, but he didn't hit it the other way,
right.
So it's never going to be a great piece of hitting. Only if you go the other way and like float a single out there. What a great piece of hitting. What about if you hit it over the scoreboard? Is that a great piece of hitting? Anyone ever say, man, what a great piece of hitting that was? 3-run shot. No one says that.
Yeah, even if it's something amazing, if it's commonplace, then it's not amazing. But if it's uncommon and you hit it the other way, then that's got.
Take it or leave it? Or
no, we
don't have any.
Since 2 o'clock,
we got to talk about. Oh, you've been watching soccer.
In the 4th minute, I was very fast. 4 minutes into the game, they scored, and then after that, there were some good chances for both sides. But
here's the good news: if your team loses, I have no idea if they're out or not. If they lose, it's stupid.
It's called legs, by the way,
yeah.
As well. First leg and second leg,
which is dumb because that's not an odd number. So
no, it's not. But it doesn't matter about whether you win the first. It's combined
goal
goals.
differential. Yeah, very important.
Combined goals.
That's poor way to determine things.
Yeah.
But there will be a new season and a new league and a new bracket like 5 minutes after you lose, so it's no big deal. Go from the Premier League to Champions League, then you got your national friendlies.
This is it for Arsenal. They are out of the Premier League race. The Premier League only has, I think, maybe 3
They're playing the Premier League and the Champions League at the same time?
They do that during the season, correct. Yeah, it's a tough schedule.
It's because they don't have any real sports. That's the problem. So we just have to play soccer all the time because we don't go from season to season. We just got to play soccer all the time.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah,
they hadn't figured out the good sports.
Hadn't figured them out. Yeah,
hadn't figured them out. I mean, clearly
they do have leagues for the other sports. The big other countries are obviously just not very good, and also
the good ones come over here where we know how to play sports.
Yes, but also countries for over 100 years is probably the reason why they don't care about any other sports.
You can adapt.
No,
just play with your hand. We do things with our hands more deftly than we do with our feet.
Yeah, that's why they call it football, right?
That's a great Saturday Night Live skit
yes.
with Shane. You kick them. You play with your hands.
Yeah, you'll kick it once or twice a game.
Sir, sometimes 3, sometimes 1.
Sometimes 1.
That's quality stuff. Shane. That is, and Jay
Also,
Gillis
but
did
really good
Dad's
too.
House.
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
He did. Yeah, and then the couple of beers was really
Couple
good.
of beers. Yep. Dustin B. Hunt dropping his vast soccer knowledge, and Bill Baggins. Hunt's about to call golf a sport in a minute. I would contend it's a sport. Elite athletes out there.
There are some elite athletes out there.
They're actually pretty athletic now.
They are
Some of them.
very. They used to not be, but now they're all like training hard.
Tough to defend some of those first pitches though. Like Rory threw out a first pitch in San Francisco was not good, but he can hit the ball a long way. Good wedge player.
Yeah.
Masters champion, if you didn't know. Drew a Grand
he
Slam.
is. Yes, it did happen.
That's about it here on this Tuesday. We covered a lot of ground over the last 2 hours, so I'd invite you to go check it out on demand. If you missed anything, I'll kind of run through it. Started the show talking LSU and Southeastern. Bear Jones. Go Yard, Sharief Ishaq, WDSU, talking Saints draft. You also had Glenn West in the first hour talking LSU baseball. LSU got a cornerback commitment. I just kind of talked about why Corey Raymond was going to do that all along. So you can check that out at the end of hour number 1 or on YouTube at Hunt on LSU, where we find all quarterback decision making at the top of the hour. LSU in the NFL. Will mean to LSU's postseason resume. It's all wherever you find your sound at the Hunt Palmer Show. Matt's going to drive you home on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow, same.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and